Every video you post online or even the movies you watch is made up of sequences, and those sequences are made up of individual shots. The same principle applies to your own videos. Every single shot you choose tells your audience something. Whether or not you're doing it intentionally, you're always communicating visually. So before we jump into editing, we need to make sure every shot is planned and created with purpose. Shots shape what your audience notices, how they feel, and what they remember. Think of each one as a tiny emotional lever. When used intentionally, it can guide your viewer's experience on a psychological level. Let's walk through the different shot types, what they do, when to use them, and most importantly, how they impact your audience emotionally. An establishing shot shows us where the scene is taking place. It shows where your story is happening, usually with a wide, sweeping view from a distance or high angle that captures the full scene. Establishing shots are defined by what purpose they serve in your scene or edit, regardless of their size. Their function is to introduce the location, time, and context of the scene before action starts. These shots orient the audience in space and time. They're typically wide or extreme wide shots, though they can vary in size depending on what needs to be established. You'll usually find them at the beginning of scenes or after location changes. Establishing shots tell us where we are. They identify the location clearly and unmistakably. They reveal when we are, the time of day, the season, or even the era. A sunset establishes evening. Snow establishes winter. Architecture and vehicles can establish a time period. They set expectations for what kind of experience awaits. The tone of the shot signals what's coming, and they communicate scale and scope of the story. Showing a small town feels different than showing a large city. A single building feels different from an entire mountain range. It sets the stage, both literally and emotionally. More than just a location, it gives your audience a sense of tone, scale, and what kind of experience they're in for. Without this shot, viewers can feel lost, like walking into a movie halfway through. But with it, they're grounded and oriented, ready to absorb what comes next. It's like handing them a map before you ask them to follow a story. The wider the shot, the more formal and detached it tends to feel. Tightening it up a little brings more intimacy while still giving helpful context. The framing choice affects not just what information you provide, but how the audience feels about receiving it. An over-the-shoulder shot frames one character from behind, showing the back of the head and shoulder in the foreground, while focusing on the other character facing them. This composition naturally places the audience inside the space of the conversation, as if they are standing right behind one of the characters. OTS shots are a staple of dialogue scenes, because they provide clear perspective, natural eye lines, and spatial continuity between characters. They are often used in alternating pairs to build a seamless back-and-forth rhythm while keeping both characters visually connected in each frame. Over-the-shoulder shots frame one character from behind, showing the back of the head and shoulder in the foreground while focusing on the other character facing them. This creates depth and layers within the frame. They naturally place the audience inside the space of the conversation. You're not observing from outside. You're positioned within the interaction itself. They make the scene feel more immersive and immediate. The audience becomes a participant rather than a distant observer. And they show interaction and perspective clearly, reinforcing who is speaking and who is listening. The framing makes the conversational dynamic obvious and readable. The OTS creates spatial relationships that feel natural and intuitive. The foreground element, the back of one character's head and shoulder, grounds the shot and provides depth. Without it, you just have a medium shot. With it, you have context, perspective, and immersion. The conversation feels dynamic and engaging rather than static, even though both characters might be standing still. Dialogue scenes rely heavily on OTS framing. It's the default approach for two-person conversations because it solves multiple problems simultaneously: coverage, perspective, spatial continuity, and engagement. A point-of-view shot shows exactly what a character is seeing from their own perspective, as if the camera has taken their place. The viewer becomes the character, experiencing the scene through their eyes. This shot is incredibly powerful because it transforms the audience from passive observers into active participants. Instead of watching a character react to something, the viewer sees it themselves, which creates intense emotional identification, suspense, or disorientation. POV shots place the camera, and therefore the audience, directly in a character's position. You're not watching them look at something. You are them looking at that thing. They create immediate subjective experience. Whatever the character feels about what they're seeing, the audience begins to feel it too, because they're sharing the exact same visual information. They eliminate the distance between audience and character. There's no mediating perspective, no third-party observation. It's direct, visceral, and personal, and they can intensify any emotion: fear, wonder, confusion, attraction, disgust. When you see through a character's eyes, their emotional state becomes your emotional state. Use POV shots for revealing what a character discovers. The moment of discovery becomes the audience's moment of discovery, making revelations more impactful. Deploy this perspective for creating suspense about what they see. Not showing the character's reaction, only showing what they're looking at, builds tension because we have to imagine how they're responding. Choose POV shots for building empathy and identification. Sharing a character's literal perspective creates psychological connection and understanding. And use this framing for showing subjective experiences. Altered states, impaired vision, emotional distortion, or any moment where perception itself matters. The POV shot makes the subjective objective by giving the audience direct access to how a character perceives their world. The POV shot is one of cinema's most direct tools for manipulation, in the best sense of that word. You can make the audience feel exactly what you want them to feel by controlling what they see and when they see it. A reaction shot shows a character's emotional response to something that has just happened or is happening off screen. Instead of focusing on the event itself, this shot captures how the character feels about it, which often communicates more meaning than the event alone. Reaction shots are crucial for building emotional continuity in a scene. They transform actions into storytelling by showing not just what happened, but how it matters to the people experiencing it. And even a subtle eye flicker or micro-expression can completely change how the audience interprets a moment. Reaction shots show a character's emotional response to something that has just happened or is happening off screen. The focus shifts from the action to its impact. They capture how the character feels about events. This emotional layer adds depth and meaning that the action itself cannot provide. They transform actions into storytelling by showing not just what happened, but how it matters to the people experiencing it. Events without reactions are just events. Reactions turn them into story. And even a subtle eye flicker or micro-expression can completely change how the audience interprets a moment. The same event can mean entirely different things depending on how characters react to it. Use reaction shots for showing how events affect characters emotionally. This drives story more than the events themselves because we care about people, not just things that happen. Deploy reaction shots for building emotional investment, especially during turning points or big reveals. The character's response guides the audience's response and amplifies the significance of the moment. Choose reaction shots to create natural rhythm and balance in editing. Action followed by reaction creates a conversational flow that keeps audiences engaged. Show the thing, then show the impact of the thing, and use reaction shots for clarifying character dynamics. An insert shot is a tight shot that isolates a small but crucial object or detail within a scene, something that might be overlooked in wider coverage but is essential for the audience to notice and understand. Unlike reaction shots, which show emotional responses, or cutaways, which show related context, an insert focuses solely on story-critical details. A phone screen, a key turning in a lock, a name on a document, or a button being pressed. It directs the viewer's attention with absolute clarity and removes all surrounding distractions. Because inserts are often filmed separately from the main scene, they are highly controlled shots, and they direct viewer attention with absolute clarity. When you cut to an insert, there's no question what the audience should be looking at. Everything else disappears. Use insert shots to highlight crucial story information that must be seen clearly by the audience. Use inserts to make sure key plot elements or actions aren't missed within fast or busy scenes. When there's a lot happening visually, the insert cuts through the chaos and says, "This matters," which is essential when specific information drives the plot forward. They build suspense by delaying the reveal until the precise dramatic moment. You can withhold the insert, creating curiosity about what the character is looking at, then deploy it for maximum impact when the timing is right. The sudden shift to an isolated detail changes the rhythm, adds emphasis, and signals to the audience that this moment carries weight. A cutaway shot temporarily moves away from the main action to show related context, details, or parallel events before returning to the primary scene. Unlike an insert, which focuses on a crucial detail directly tied to the current action, a cutaway broadens the viewer's perspective, showing something connected but not part of the core action in that moment. Cutaways are a vital storytelling and editing tool because they allow you to add information, create rhythm, and smooth transitions between shots. They can make scenes feel more dynamic, give the audience breathing space during intense action, or subtly foreshadow what's about to happen. Cutaway shots temporarily move away from the main action to show related context, details, or parallel events. They expand the world beyond what the primary scene is showing. They broaden the viewer's perspective, showing something connected, but not part of the core action. This creates a richer, more complete understanding of the situation. Cutaways are problem solvers in the edit. They give you flexibility to reshape timing, hide cuts, or add context wherever needed. And they provide breathing room in your edit. When a scene feels relentless or monotonous, a cutaway changes the visual rhythm and gives both you and your audience a moment to reset. While one thing unfolds, the cutaway shows parallel action, consequences, or reactions happening elsewhere.